Hello, Rob Tepper here, and I was just preparing to give a live training to some of my Brazilian teammates, and I was studying up and brushing up a little bit on the Google plus Hangout Toolbox, in particular the lower third, which is very, very powerful. And in just a short while I was able to create what you can see here. Let's see. There we go. I created that. And I'm going to show you how I did that, and also how I created several other types of what this is called is lower third. So what exactly is the lower third, or how do you get to it? The lower third is part of the Google Hangout Toolbox, and you can see this looks like a toolbox when you scroll over it. There it is. If you don't see this image or any of these other images on your screen, you can click on these three little dots, and applications that you don't have are available there. And these are all very, very interesting applications. But in order to keep this not overly long, we're going to just focus on this one very cool feature, which is the lower third. So, and by the way, this may confuse you also if you haven't experienced before. Lower third was a standalone app, I guess, at some point, and so that's why you can click it here. But it doesn't work unless you click on the Hangout Toolbox, and this is the menu that you should see, the Hangout Toolbox. And so now I'm going to show you how to create this type of information, and it's all contained here where it says lower third. And you get to lower third, it's the leftmost icon out of these 5, and we're not even going to worry about the other 4 right now, because there's plenty to cover when we're just talking about this one topic. So let me show you how we can just start from scratch. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn everything off. Just have to turn it on before we turn it off. Okay, so now we've got a clear screen, and now we can start to create anything we want. So just to show you how that works, we're going to put in John Doe, and this is a background color here, so we can make that red. And let's see, that if we just do that and then we turn on the lower third, look what we've got: John Doe, global ripplers, and our US flag. That's pretty cool, right? And you really don't need to do anything more to change your entire image and persona to one of being a professional expert Google Hangout-outer. So that's the first tip. Now I'm going to show you a little bit more about what the rest of these little components do. Well, you see the John Doe and global ripplers, and by the way, you can't change any of this while the lower third is turned on. So you have to turn it off, then you go in, you can change the color to green, turn it back on. And you can go in, and so you can't change the flag or anything, but you turn it off, and you go and you decide, oh, I made a mistake, I'm actually in Vietnam, then you can turn it on and you get the Vietnamese flag. If there is one, it should come up. Hello. No Vietnamese flag, maybe in the database. Well, that was a bad choice. Let's try Turkey. Hello, Turkey. There we go. Alright, so that's how you do that. And then the other options, I never use the clock, but you can turn the clock on. It's a pretty, it's handy, and it's very simple. And then there's this custom overlay, and the custom overlay has a very specific dimension that it needs to be, and that dimension is, oops, hold on a second, 640 by 360. Yes, so it's 640 by 360, and with that you can do all kinds of cool things, and I'm going to show you those. So what you do is you upload a file for each of your custom overlays, and let's global ripplers call to action overlay. Let's open that one, and and then we have to turn it on. But before we turn it off, before we turn it on, we should turn off what is already on, and then turn on this new custom overlay, and look at that. So that is my Global Rippler's call to action overlay. And let's try another one. Again, you can't do anything while it's turned on, so we turn it off, and we'll choose another file in here. How about Facebook follow overlay? And then turn it on. Look at that. And there's some nice tools out there that make it very easy to create this, and I just did all this very, very quickly. So now let me show you a couple of others. Now every time that you create something and you like it, you can save it. You can save it down here as a preset. And before you turn your presets on, make sure that you turn off your other three buttons up here, because they will conflict. So there's one banner that I have, and there's my Global Ripplers banner. And this is a complete overlay, which is at 640 by 360. So I can click on that and basically disappear behind the screen. There's also ways that you can make it transparent. Here, for some reason this one didn't save correctly. I've actually tried this a few times, but I wanted this one to have the US flag. Let's try that again. No, not that. Not John Doe. We want Rob Tepper. But Rob Tepper. And there we go. And where's our US flag? Do we have a, yes we do. And so we want to save that one as Global Ripplers with the US flag. And you can decide when it's an advantage to use your flag, your nationality, and when it doesn't. So now in theory, if we turn this off, now we've got nothing showing, and we click on the Global Ripplers with US flag, we should get what I just did. And it should have the flag, but it doesn't. So I think there might be a little bug with this US flag thing showing up. But it does show up when you do that. Okay, so let's see, we've gone through most of those. We've got the Global Ripplers call to action, Global Ripplers overlay. I showed you that one. Here's what we started with, and they're very, very quick and easy to create. And every time you create one that you like, you just save it in the presets, and then anytime that you're on that computer with that same browser, you will be able to call up any of those presets. So I hope that you enjoyed that, and that only took 8 minutes, so I can show you a couple of other things, like this DFace is kind of fun, kind of silly. If you click on it, it covers up your face, and it moves with you. So I don't use that all that often, but what the heck, when you want to have some good fun, you can do your defacing. Now, in order to turn that off, you want to click on it again, and then move into, let's see, click on, I had trouble, there we go, click on off, and that turns it off. And then we can go back and do the other things. Volume control I've never used, common tracker I have not used, and so that, my friends, is really the key that I want, the keys to the Google Hangout Toolbox that I wanted to share with you as I prepare to teach others. What I realize is that there's hours of material that you can go through and master in order to be able to really leverage the Google Plus tool. But it's worth it because it's a free tool, and you can actually put on webinars for an unlimited number of people for free. There is a plugin that makes that whole front-end interface work as well, where you can get opt-ins before the webinar and you can pre-promote it. And I think that piece for me was the missing element, and now I have that, so you'll be seeing a lot more of my webinars, and with squeeze pages for people to sign up, just like I used in the past with GoToWebinar. Alright, my friends, this is Rob Tepper. I hope that was useful, and I look forward to seeing you tap.